This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to the Anjana Sutta Academy Daily Srimad Bhagavatam reading. Today is 2021, July 7th, 7/7. And who can be our chief guest?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance. Salvation Prabhupada. Is it bilingual or English?
It's bilingual.
Okay, then
Urdu and English. Tamil?
Telugu Guru Maharaj.
Okay, Telugu. Telephone, telegraph, telewoman, Telugu. Okay. Okay, so I guess we'll do English, but we will do British English, sir.
Okay, Guru Maharaj.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Gopijana Balaba Gidivaradhari.
Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
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 Gopi Jana Bahalava Girivaradhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana.
Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jayom Vishnupat Paramahamsa Shishla Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind.
Jai.
Shri Ramachari Haridas Thakur ki jai. Shri Panchatattva ki jai. Shri Vari Govinda Chandra ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai.
Jai.
All glory to assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glory to all assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glory to all assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Chetudar Okay. So here we have our diary of a traveling creature. Okay. So this is Caitanya Charitamrita Antya Lila. How's our audios? Okay.
It's pretty good, Maharaj. Good.
Okay. Is there background noise?
No, I think it's good. I can hear you clearly.
Okay. I have the door open. And all the mode of passion is coming and everybody is running, driving to work. Except the devotees. So this is Caitanya Charitamrita Antya Lila chapter 20, which is the last chapter, text number 22. Please read. Cheto Darpana Marjanam
Cheto Darpana Marjanam
Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam
Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam
Sweya Koirava Chandrika Vitaranam
Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam
Vidya Vadu Jivanam
Vidyavadhu Jivanam
Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam
Anandam Bhudivardhanam
Pratipadam Purnamritasvadanam
Pratipadam Purnamritasvadanam
Sarvatma Snapanam
Sarvatma Snapanam
Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam.
Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam.
So we're engaged in chanting Hare Krishna because we've taken refuge. Lord Chaitanya, Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Yeah, it's interesting. Some people have taken shelter of the Prophet Muhammad. His name be blessed. Some have taken shelter of Lord Jesus Christ. Some have taken shelter of Abraham, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Shankaracharya, Bill Gates. So many people. They find shelter in one or more people. You know, their parents, political leader. I saw one documentary. It was on the history of Mein Kampf. You know, Adolf Hitler's book. It was quite interesting. It's still selling so many copies. You know. It's very interesting. The history of Mein Kampf on YouTube, his book. But it showed that at some point he became popular, and there was, I guess, we're pretty unsure if it was required in all schools, controlled by the Third Reich, by the Nazi, or if it was just in certain ones, you know. But there were songs. The little children, maybe 6 years old, 7 years old, they were singing about Hitler and saying, "He is our savior. He is our avatar. He's come to save us." You know? So fascism, you know, exactly what the Bhagavatam is describing: worshiping somebody in the mode of passion, making a man, you know, the object of worship. You know? So fascism, you know, very much. You know. So, but we're taking shelter of Lord Chaitanya, who's recommending, who's presenting the Vedas, is Haranama, 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 Eva Kevalao. In the Kali Yuga, Haranama Eva Kevalo, Kalo Nasteva, Haranama Eva Kevalo, Haranama Eva Kevalo. How's it go? Harinama, Harinama, Eva Keva, Lokalona, Steva, Gatra, Ananyata. Chant the names of God, chant the names of God, chant the names of God in this age of Kali, quarrel and dissension. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. So very, very emphatic, not by doing good things, being a good person in Varna Ashram, or not by developing wisdom, like Socrates or the Stoics or somebody, and not even by trying to control the mind and engage in meditations or mystic yoga, karma jnana dhyana, but only by bhakti. Harinama, 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 Eva Keva, Lokalo, Nasteva, Gatir, Anyata. That way we can attain the goal. So then Lord Caitanya gives advice even about how to chant, which the Shikshastaka, 8 verses of advice. And Prabhupada mentions these right in the preface to Nectar of Instruction, and he compares the 11 verses of Upadeshamrita with the Shikshastaka, which is giving it very, very high potency. Of course, we've heard that Lord Caitanya himself didn't write much or even anything, except these 8 verses, which summarize all the knowledge. So Caitanya Charitamrita finishes with these. Prabhupada's introduction to the Bhagavatam is a biography of Lord Caitanya, as the ideal preacher of Srimad Bhagavatam, the ideal teacher of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay? And he finishes with the Shikshastaka. And so I think there are different commentaries, by different acharyas and by devotees now. Nice to try and find those and go through those and share those in the blog. Whatever you find out, fine. Whatever you know about these topics in the classes, you can write comments in the blog, like that. Okay. So there's also Radhanath Swami tells a story that he was in Bombay, I guess. I can't remember the person's name now, but he was the acharya at that time. Probably now he's left his body. I forgot the name of the organization also. But it was one of the most powerful yoga associations in India. Very, very big. I think it was started by one former surgeon under the British in Malaysia. They have a whole incorporated town in the United States of America. Not Pushtimar, something else. Anyway, it'll come back to us. So anyway, he had just given a big program in Calcutta, apparently. He was very old, maybe, I don't know.
Did Ramana Maharshi?
No. Nope. Okay. It'll come. Yeah. So anyway, he had given a big program, and they do yoga. His idea, integral yoga. Integral yoga is the name of the group. Integral yoga. Yes, he was trying to integrate bhakti yoga, karma yoga, and hatha yoga. All the 3 yogas, he thought. Karma yoga, doing good works. Bhakti yoga, the yoga of love and devotion, and hatha yoga, the yoga of asanas and all these things. Astanga yoga. Yeah. His name was almost there. So it was very successful. And then it's still a powerful organization. They have an entire town incorporated in the East Coast, someplace out in the country. We've been there. And then his acharya at that time, maybe like about 15 years ago or something. When he came to Bombay after the big program in Calcutta. Maybe like 5,000 people in the audience every day for 5-6 days and doing programs and teaching. He was exhausted. He was kind of hiding out in the home of one of his disciples, followers, rather more opulent person. But he sent somebody to the temple. I think it was in Chopati or Bombay or something like that, saying he wanted to talk to a disciple of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So Radhanath Maharaj went there, and he said he met him, and it was very, very potent person, very famous. And he received him very nice, and he said, I wanted to hear all about Prabhupada. And he said even with devotees, he never heard so much like focus and intention and real concern and affection, interest like that. And he said all about Prabhupada. And then this Acharya, he said, actually, he himself, when he was a young man, he was someplace like in Madras or someplace in South India. And he was studying to become an engineer, like all good young Indian men at that time. But every day on the way to his classes, he would pass by a Gaudiya Math temple. It wasn't too big. And he would just, pious Hindu child boy, he would just go in and pay his obeisances, maybe a few prayers. And one day he said there was a very, very powerful big sannyasi visiting. And it sounds like it was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And he lectured on the Shikshastika. He said that was the beginning of his spiritual life, So then he invited, Radhanath Swami to visit their ashram in Hrishikesh if he was ever there. They have big ashram, so many international guests and people coming and visiting. Maybe, the smallest amount, maybe like 500 people staying there. The biggest amount's unlimited. So Radhanath Maharaj was there, and he went to the ashram and saw the Acharya fellow, and he was so happy to see him. And he said, yes, please give a lecture tonight. We have our evening, I guess, whatever yoga exercises and something, just a dinner, supper. And then you can come then and I'll announce it that you're going to lecture. So Radhanath Maharaj asked the gentleman, what should I lecture on? And he said, Shikshastika. He said he recited Trinadapi Sanichena Taroriva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. That one should be more tolerant than a tree, more humble than the grass, ready to offer all respects to others and expecting no respect for oneself. So he went there that evening, and everybody was finishing. And maybe they had, it seemed like they had like supper, before that, and everybody would have a very yogic dinner, and then a metal plate, and they'd wash their plate, and somebody was making sure they were clean, and he'd put them in the pile themselves. And very sattvic, goodness. So then they all came in and put down their yoga mats and sat in their kind of like lotus postures or something, and we're going to listen to this lecture and kind of meditating, and some with their eyes closed, and call it Padmasana. So Radhanath Maharaj gave a lecture, and people were attentive. You could tell they were listening. And most of them were like, quite nice, happy, enthused. And so and somewhere I think Radhanath Maharaj, he started the lecture, and then the Acharya came down and sat behind him, and he smiled at Maharaj and nodded his head and said, "Go on." And this was extremely rare because he was so old. He had a very regulated schedule. He always would be in bed by this time, And so people were. He was like emphasizing this to such a point that all the participants and the yogis were realizing, wow, this is something very special. So because of that, I think we're very attentive, So then Maharaj started a kirtan, and people were chanting, And I think maybe a few were standing up. But then he said, this Acharya, this old man, the old gentleman, he started chanting, and he said it was like a lion. It was like the yoga work. The guy had so much potency. He was like, just coming out with his voice so potent, so loud. And all the other, he was standing up and dancing like respectively. Then all the younger people started dancing, and Radhanath Maharaj again losing him. Probably some other devotees too. And some of them were really getting into like ISKCON devotees, and probably became ISKCON devotees at that point. So anyway, then they finished, and immediately everybody sat down and got into their lotus postures and everything else. So this very nice preaching on this Shikshastika, understanding it and taking it to heart. Yeah. And also, I think it was when he was in Bombay, the Acharya told him that when their founder, his name is like Prabodhananda. His name was Prabodhananda also, something like that. But anyway,
Swami Sachidananda.
Nope. I know there's not.
Okay.
Swami Satchidananda was one of his disciples,
Okay.
and another was Nada Brahmananda.
Mm.
Anyway, he's like, now we know who it is. We could dig him up if we wanted to. Very, very powerful. It was a very good yoga, very powerful yoga. And it wasn't bad. You look at that stuff. They don't directly deny the existence of God. Somebody's microphone's open there. So anyway, the Acharya told him he was one of the senior men. Swami Satchidananda, Nada Brahmananda, maybe 5 or 6. And he said in the last few days before the Acharya left his body, integral yoga, he was going out like a yogi. His body was minimizing. All the gas in the tank was being used up to the bottom, like that. And then he said most of the followers don't know this, but all of these senior men, they know this. They were there. He said it was maybe 3 days before he left his body, or 2 days, or something like that. He called all of his sannyasis and senior sannyasis, and then he said, "I've seen Krishna. I've seen Krishna, and I surrender to him. He's the boss." So he told him it was very clear. The guy got the results of his yoga and everything else like that, so on. So all starting with preaching the Chaitanya Darpanam Arjanam. This is the poem here. So any questions or comments by anybody here like that on these topics here?
So Guru Maharaj, how was it possible for him to see Krishna? He wasn't in the parampara.
Yeah. One girl, I don't think she was initiated. She said she had a dream. Wrote to Prabhupada, I had a dream. I saw Radha and Krishna. Did I really see Krishna? And Prabhupada said, yes. He said, if the king and the queen want to go into the prison house, who can stop them? So you're not in the parampara. Krishna can do whatever he wants to do. But then he said, yes, you have seen Krishna. Now you must learn to love him. So he come to the point of, Sisya Steham Sarimam Tvam Prapanam, possibly. How much more did he advance? And okay, yeah. Okay, Guru Maharaj, I got a comment here from Sugopi Radha is putting something in the chat there. Okay. Where is it? This is chat. Okay. Guru Maharaj, could you kindly talk more about how Sankirtan is the life and soul of education? Okay. That's what we were going to do if nobody asks questions about anything else. So we'll go ahead here. Okay, first off, we see, I think there's even someone even gave a lecture like this. We can see it appears that there are 7 results. What do you get out of this? 7 results. Yeah. 1, chanting Sri Krishna Sankirtan cleanses the mirror of the heart. Cheto, which is consciousness, Darpana, and Darpana is dust. Is it dust, or chief guest?
Mirror, Guru Maharaj. Darpana is mirror.
Yeah, but it's also chitta, isn't it also?
That is, Cheta is the mind.
Okay. So, and Darpana is dust?
Marjanam is cleansing of the mirror of mind.
Okay. But what does Darpana mean?
Darpana means mirror.
Mirror?
Yes.
Okay, so dust is not there. I always forget that. One devotee's name was Darpana. Okay. And in Mandira Marjanada, we say every day in the Gurvastika, Mandira Marjanado. Mandira, Marjana. The devotees always engaged in decorating the deities, Shingaratan, Mandira Marjanado, and cleansing their temple. So Cheto Darpana Marjana. Bhava Maha Dabagni Nirvapanam. So Bhava means the material existence, and the great Davagni, the great forest fire, Sansara Davanala, Davagni, Nirvapanam, which I guess means extinguishing. So 2 results right off: cleanses the mirror of the heart, and stops the miseries of the blazing fire of material existence. And then 3, it is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune. Shreya, I guess, is auspicious. And Koirava is lotus.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Chandrika is the moon. And Vitaranam is spreading, no? Okay, Shreya, Koirava, Chandrika, Vitaranam. Now, next one is Vidya, Vadu, Jivanam. Vidya is knowledge, and Vadu is wife. Knowledge is life. It is the life and soul. It's translated as soul of all education. Okay. 5 expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. Okay. 6 gives a cooling effect to everyone. So number 5, maybe we're experiencing some kind of ananda in our spiritual life, but now it expands it. So this sounds like we're going from Bhava Bhakti to Prema Bhakti. Gives a cooling effect to everybody. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. Vardhanam means expanding. Ambudhi means ocean. Patipadam Purnamrita Svadanam. Okay. We're backing up here. Oh, sorry. Sarvatma Snapanam. So Snapanam is from Snana?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. Sarvatma, all the old Atmas. So I'm trying to relate this to, Adoshraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Nartana and things like that, and understand it because probably Lord Caitanya is, presenting related items so we can see the different steps in the process. Okay, can you close your microphone? We get an echo when it's open like that. Okay, can you see our next slide? You have to open your microphone.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Okay, now close it. It's like flying in a ship during World War II. So, cleanses the mirror of the heart, stops the miseries of the blazing fire of material existence. So this sounds like exactly like the first two, the first result. There's three levels of devotional service: sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. It's all discussed in Nectar of Devotion. The first level is sadhana bhakti, and there are 2 results. There are 2 results in every one of the 3. So the first result, the first one is that it removes distress and it makes everything auspicious. Everything auspicious. Okay. Right. And so we see, and Prabhupada says that the distress that we're experiencing, it goes through all the details, how it stays as a seed, it begins to manifest, it manifests completely. So there's details. But it says all this is based upon ignorance. Ignorance. So the first result is that it cleanses the mirror of the consciousness. Cheto, the mind mirror cleans. Mind mirror cleaning. Mind mirror cleaning. Yeah. So the first thing is this the first result of bhakti yoga is the sadhana bhakti is it cleanses the mirror of the heart, which then stops the miseries of the blazing fire. Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. So those 2 match up exactly. And the next one, this is the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 1. Okay. And is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune. This also happens. Not only do we get, is our family life, our job, our social life, our body, do we become relieved from distress, but now they become auspicious. Our family life, our job, our body, they all become auspicious like that. So the white lotus of good fortune, is spread by the chanting. So this is the second result. Krishna consciousness is all auspicious. Then we have is the life and soul of all education. Well, if we're already having good fortune, it's beginning to increase, so our sufferings are decreasing, then what kind of education is this? So this is education about spiritual values, spiritual characteristics. Then we begin to learn the complete science of bhakti yoga, nectar of devotion. It starts to become manifest in our heart automatically, or if we can get the book shows up and we can start to understand the book, in a very practical sense. It's a manual of how to do things, nectar of devotion. So that's the next level. And in Bhava Bhakti, so it sounds like we're still actually in sadhana bhakti at this point. Adoshvada, sadhu, sangha, bhajana kriya, narta nivritti, nishta, ruchi, asaktis. So I don't see how it fits in. But that's the next level where we start to understand what is spiritual life. It's Prabhupada said, learning how to be a plumber or a carpenter, or something else, a journalist, so many things, programmer. He said, this is not knowledge in Vedic culture. He said, this is shilpa, livelihood. And that kind of knowledge is usually in the mode of ignorance, where it's learning some kind of facts or some kind of algorithm, to use the facts, the tools, for certain results. So it's basically knowledge in the mode of ignorance, how to manipulate matter. Knowledge in the mode of passion then is how to relate to other people, social life. And then finally, in the mode of goodness, we begin to actually get spiritual education, pure goodness. So that it all becomes manifested gradually like that. And as we do this, of course, then we see how to use the physical knowledge, how to use the social knowledge, how they should be connected to Krishna. If Krishna wants us to preach, then we have to be able to understand how to use these things properly in his service. Prabhupada was using a dictaphone. On the other hand, if we still have some attachments, because it goes gradually, so we were acquiring spiritual knowledge, then we can understand our material attachments better, and we can see how to connect them to Krishna. If I'm attached to drawing, okay, then I can see how I can draw for Krishna, how I can take a part in the Sankirtan movement and developing these skills, and then they no longer become an attachment to the material world. Expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. Nishta, ruchi. So this sounds we're at the level of ruchi, where it's expanding. Maybe heading towards Bhava Bhakti here, maybe in Bhava Bhakti at this point. Gives a cooling effect to everyone. Now, this is very strange because this seems like it would be way back in the beginning. But maybe again, after the gold becomes completely heated up and all the contaminations go off, then it gives a spiritual cooling effect. So we need to ask the acharyas. Enables one to taste full nectar at every step. Now, this sounds like more like nishta also, where we're fixed. Of course, in the nectar of devotion, nectar of instruction is describing these different stages, of so Shravana Disha, things like that. And it's describing that it's at one point we are continuously Krishna conscious. Right? Our schedule's there all the time. We're always thinking about Krishna, talking about Krishna, arguing with Krishna, arguing with the devotees, complaining about ISKCON. Yeah. And so we see, I'm always Krishna conscious. But then it has to become more intense, then it has to become broad, where it includes everything, not just my little island of Krishna consciousness, all around me. So by unceasing, intense, broad Krishna consciousness, then one finally realizes his swarup, his identity, in terms of Krishna. And even though we're in this material world, we're still in it with the knowledge of our relationship to Krishna and the relationship with the material world, to our service and to Krishna. So have we got anything else? Just kind of one thing here, and trying to break those down. It's one of our tasks we're looking at. Then looking at it, just two more things, kind of a little realization I've had. Next text says that Krishna has many, many names, and there's all potency in those. And there's no hard and fast rules to remembering them. Nakalaha. How's it go? Nam Akari. Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. Tatrarpita niyamite smaranena kalaha. Itadashi tabakripa bhagavan momapi. Duradaivam idisi hajani nanuragaha. Duradaivam. I'm a rascal. Na anuragaha. I don't get any raga. But even though the full potency is there. So devotees say, well, Prabhupada, it says that we can just chant Hare Krishna and, have no problems. And so why do we have to get up for Mangalarti? Why do we have to chant on beads? Why do we have to shave up with tilakam? Why do we have to, go to work? So Prabhupada said it is like eating food, right? Given this example many times, quoting Prabhupada, that if you eat food, it will always have an effect. One biologist in the university told me that you could go a long time just living on beer and pretzels, bar snacks. When you're in the bar, to get you to drink more beer, they give you pretzels and peanuts with lots of salt. So you can just live on those. And beer has a lot of digestible energy in it too. And of course, you won't be healthy or anything, but you probably could go like that for maybe 5 years before you finally just died of, not malnutrition, I guess malnutrition, improper nutrition. So we go on chanting with all kinds of offenses and different things, and eventually we die, we take birth again. But if we eat properly, it has a more rapid effect in our development. So therefore, deity worship is recommended, and chanting according to a systematic fashion is recommended. And he says, because I am doing these bad things while I'm chanting, committing offenses, so the 10 offenses can be stuck in right here, I don't get any taste. Okay. I have all these benefits in the first verse. But because we're doing offensive chanting, the second verse, that's why we're not going to get all these results. So the third verse says, one tunadapi sunichena taror iva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadaharihi. Let's see what time it is here. It is 8:08. Okay. One who thinks himself lower, su nichena, su very much niche piche, su nichena, toror, sahishnuna, more tolerant, who does not expect personal honor, manida, mana is honor, I think. Amanina, doesn't have any honor for himself. Manadena, but is giving it to others. Can always chant. So here's how to always chant: is that trees, plants, people, enemies, friends, teachers, students, co-workers, common people, if we're always looking to give them respect. One big famous author, he said one of his greatest attributes was people watching. From a small time he was a small child, he said that's how he could write. Maybe he wrote 50, 60 detective novels and so many things. And all the people, that's why they were all like real people with real problems, anxieties, and different things like that, and surprises. So when you're in the airport waiting, what am I going to do? Well, you can start chanting one mantra. I don't chant mantras for girls when I'm in the airport. Maybe girls don't want to chant mantras for guys, okay? Brahmacharis and brahmacharis, kijan. No boyfriend, no problem. So, okay, I see them. So I chant, look at the guys and chant one mantra for that guy and one mantra for that guy. They're going by, And usually it keeps you like chanting on your beads and stuff. And you see people are different. You start getting realizations just like that about people and their character and what's happening and the kind of people like that. So very, very, I think one of the most powerful things is Amanina Manadena. There's a very, very famous book, we've mentioned it many times, How to Make Friends and Influence Enemies. And that's how to make friends and influence people. And one of his most important things is exactly the same thing. Look for good qualities in people. Don't flatter them. No, look for the good qualities. And be conscious of the bad qualities, but look for the good qualities always, and emphasizing those first. So that's our idea. We see everything, Upanishad, the good and the bad in this world, good and bad in people. But we're looking for and emphasizing the good things like that. Yeah. And of course, at least somebody exists. Somebody may have all bad qualities in so many ways, but still we can thank them for existing. Because without the mode of goodness, to some degree, things could not exist. Okay, yeah. You're taking part in supporting Krishna's external energy. Yeah. So, and it seems even here, even more. I do not desire material wealth, materialistic followers, a beautiful wife, or fruitive activities described in flowery language. All I want is your unmotivated devotional service, life after life. So if we're approaching people, not to give them respect, to give them service, then we're approaching them because we want materialistic wealth from them. We want their actual to follow us. And specifically, we're looking for the opposite sex, for women as men, for men as women. So in so many ways, these are the big problems. Wealth, prestige, and sexual gratification. You can avoid desiring to exploit people for these purposes, and then right away we can see what else are they good for? Ordinary person looks at everybody else exactly in terms of these things. How can they give me wealth? How can they give me labor, work, activity, intelligence for me, which is even more intense? Or in the fiend, in the end, I'm looking for those members of the opposite sex. How can I get the most ultimate gratification from them? Their wealth, their work, or their gratification. So if we're not looking at these things, only want to serve Krishna, then we start to see how all these things can be used in Krishna's service, and how these people can be engaged in Krishna's service. Engaged in chanting, engaged in reading books and studying, engaged in watching movies about Krishna, engaged in helping to clean the yard. That's what Prabhupada was so expert at. Because Governors are commenting, that's where Swamiji surpassed us. We maybe know more than he did externally, but he knew how to apply it. He knew how to see how everybody could be engaged, even people who for us were just untouchable. Prabhupada took them and made them into Brahmins, first-class Brahmins. So Shikshastika, very nice. After this, of course, is talking about how the whole world is void without your presence, and even a moment's separation is feeling dying. So more advanced feelings, and it comes to the very last verse, and it says Lord Caitanya was talking in a mood of very advanced devotion, in the mood of Radharani. And Radharani says, you can neglect me and let me just die of rust, or else you can trample me under your feet, but you're my worshipable Lord unconditionally. But this is a prayer of advanced devotion. Prabhupada, I want to stay in the material world and serve Lord Caitanya life after life. And Prabhupada laughed and said, that's okay for Lord Caitanya. He can pray like that. He said, but as far as we're concerned, we should pray to get out of this mess. So yeah, we are praying to have some kind of reasonably peaceful situation, enough food, enough health, things like that. Okay, praying to Krishna. If Krishna wants to take us, maybe Krishna is thinking, okay, I'm going to send this pandemic, and it's going to do this and that. But I need some more people. ISKCON's doing pretty well in this world. I need some of these people. And I say a lot of them are ready actually for going to Navadvip and taking birth there. So I'm going to use this pandemic to suck up a lot of ISKCON devotees also. Yeah. So if all the ISKCON people leaving their bodies, auspicious, always auspicious. Yeah. You miss the association. Yeah. But in most cases, yes, it's not under the control of the external energy. If you're initiated devotee and following the process, no. It's under the control of internal potency. Yeah. So Krishna taking us up, and so we pray to Krishna. And if we see that, no, I'm going to leave my body and everything else, okay, that's what Krishna wants. I tried my best to take care of this, and praying to Krishna, and I got to accept. And Krishna is not going to send me a disturbance which I won't be able to handle. So let me just surrender to it and accept it. Yeah, I can handle this, and it's intense, but it's really purifying. So, advanced sentiments. So, any comments from anybody at this point about these verses or anything?
Lot of good points, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much. Like when you said how to make friends, don't flatter but look for good qualities. Could you elaborate more on that one? When usually the nature of bad qualities is it stinks. It's more visible. It's more prominent, and that's what catches our attention.
Well, you say because the book is how to make friends and influence enemies. That's right. How to make friends and influence people. So a salesman or somebody else like that, maybe artificially flattering people, or you really dress well, or you're really intelligent, or you're really compassionate. And that's what we call flattery, where we're puffing up whatever qualities they have, or misinterpreting them, But and it's not true, but we're doing it because we think, okay, I want to manipulate this person, I want to influence them, But when we actually look for their good qualities, actually what they have, then of course it has much more potent effect, and then it has, not a deep connection that we can influence them because they know that we're influencing them in terms of who they really are, and stuff. And we really are a well-wisher. Sita, it says that Sita brought Lord Ramachandra completely under her control, by her love and submissive service. Yeah. So yeah, that's how bhakti works, because the husband appreciates that my wife is really concerned about me. So therefore, she's giving me advice and telling me what to do. I'll follow it because I can understand there's no selfish motive in it, like that. So we become under the control of people who are really concerned for our well-being. It's just natural. And of course, what that means is we see ultimately everybody is servant of Krishna. We can begin to see that in people and see how they might be engaged like this and that. And people love that. Oh, wow, I could do that. You're right. I never thought about that. Wow, that's interesting. That sounds like fun. And of course, maybe in the beginning, it's pantheistic, taste and water. It becomes Paramatma. We begin to see how people can fit into more broader roles. And you're a revolutionary. I can tell that. Oh, okay. Yeah. And then finally, Prabhupada, as necessary as could actually see people's swarup. Yeah. So, like my effulgence?
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I like Giri Govardhan in the background. I'm waiting for you to come out from the Govardhan hill. So it's beautiful, Guru Maharaj.
One more monkey. Vrindavan, room for one more monkey.
Is there monkey on the top of the tree, the topmost branch? Is that the monkey? I see 3 monkeys on the tree, at least 3 on the tree. The one on the top, is there also monkey? Maybe just a branch.
Personally, there is also another monkey on the top of it, the original picture of that one, Prabhu.
When you come here, you can look at my collection of PowerPoint pictures.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
I have a lot of monkey pictures. Hey, there's Subal.
Yeah, I see that. I see Guru now, the monkey.
Does this look like Micron?
Yes. They should have their badge on if it's Micron in their neck.
You can popularize this in Micron. They won't know they're looking at Roman. Okay.
But the most amazing thing with these animals is no matter what their bad nature, they are in teams. They work in teams. Isn't that amazing? They get along somehow better than humans.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes better than humans, but many times not better than humans.
But they stay together. They fight, but they stay together.
Yeah. They'll as a team they'll murder each other's babies.
Oh, Krishna.
Oh yeah. They chimpanzees and stuff can act like really brutal. Oh, they're cute monkey. No, they just nasty, disgusting things. Yeah. Oh, terrible. Yeah. Papa says you think monkeys are cute, but he said in India, as soon as we see them, we think, oh, pest is coming along. Yeah. He said monkeys don't make friends, don't make enemies. Just be neutral to them. Okay, so maybe we'll kind of stop here. Today is Wednesday, and maybe we can look at the capítulo for one moment here. We have a moment here. Okay. We go to Jayarama.us. Say hello. How's it work here? Let's do this. Yeah. I do this all. I did my whole webpage with Microsoft Word. Anjana Sudha Academy. Oh, okay. Oh, this goes to the Yahoo groups, which don't exist anymore. Okay, so I got to change. I got to change that. My link there. Okay. The hello goes to a page. Describes the Anjana Sudha Academy and gives the Facebook link and the Google group. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Oh, okay. Then it goes to our news, which is the current capítulo. Which is taking some time to load. Oh. So I don't know why our news is not loading. Archives also. So it must be the server. Globot must be having some problems like that. Because before it was loading nicely. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. Krishna. Okay. Sankirtan Babel of the Anjana Sudha Academy, Jayarama.us, a pioneering branch of ISKCON, founder Acharya's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, GBC Zonal Secretary, His Grace Virbahu Das. Editors, Tom Brown, Buck White, et al. Et al. Is like etc. for people. Branch head, H.A. Hanumatpresaka Swami, published East Fluent for one day. Wandering Miscreants. Okay. There's a very intelligent devotee. Yeah. Calendar updated. Next one is capítulo. Next capítulo is 9th July. So that today is Wednesday. That's Friday? So late. Okay. It says that. A couple of days to work on it. Calendar. Okay. Capítulo, which is also disappearance of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gadadhar Pandit. Pyari Mohan Das was going to be giving class. But he's been moved to a different preaching location. Krishna has him preaching in a different place now. He's opening a new ISKCON. Yes. Maybe we can go ahead and try and find out what he did, and you do it anyway. Abhi Ramkin is working on that, I guess. And then 11th Sunday, disappearance of Swarup Damodar Goswami, Srinivasacharya Das, Okay. Oh, and Sri Radhika Devi Dasi, Sugopi Devi Dasi arrive for Caitanya Charitamrita Festival in Murfreesboro until the 15th a.m. Okay. First 3 weeks in August, we'll be in Boise. And we'll be back in the borough until mid-September. And we go for 10 days in Houston, Peru, and for 6 months. And had a lot of nice discussions now with Srivas Pandit, Hari Lila, I guess Bali Mardan. And we're trying to organize at the end of July, of course, this symposium on education. So try and get our calendar updated here. Everybody registering for that. And while we're in Houston, we're thinking maybe that's when we can do all the awards for Bhakti by Baba diplomas. And also we can do other people who are qualified, because Atul Krishna and everybody else, if they have a nice examination, he's not opposed to giving Bhakti by Baba diplomas to senior devotees, like Radha Krishna Das in Houston. He's been teaching it and everything else, and very, very advanced scholar, but he doesn't have the diploma. The other people, Shama Sundar, so maybe we can go ahead then and work out, if anybody's interested, maybe when Srinivas is here, we can work on that a little bit. Try developing a nice Bhakti by Baba examination for people that they can finish off by Janmashtami, by September. Vamana Dwadasi. Okay, then we have the rest of our comments here. Piggies parting pearls. Do not cast your pearls before swine. So we have piggies pearls. So today nothing is happening special. So thank you all very, very much for your association.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Chant Hare Krishna and be happy.
Jai. Please bless us to do so.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Gurudeva. Thank you.
Richmond, ISKCON Richmond ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Gurudeva.
And Sisi Bhakti Maite ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Subalsaka Prabhu.
Hanumatpresaka Swami Maharaj ki jai, 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 gracias Maharaj. Muchas gracias.